Greetings, friends. Your cartoonist pal Stan here with a brand new episode of 50 Years in the Dungeon, the show that I do to celebrate the fact that tabletop role playing and the broader gaming hobby is past its 50-year mark, is on to the second half century. And that's worth celebrating. Talking to some of the people who've been involved along the way. I invite guests on to come and have chats with me. And while we talk, I very often will be working on a drawing, a cartoon homage to a classic piece of gaming art. Now, those of you who have been following the show for a while, particularly the last few months, know that we've been having some tech troubles. I think that I found a solution that's going to work here. Tested it out last week on a different show. Everything seems to be going good. It's things will look a little different, but it's basically going to work the same. I'm going to have a guest on tonight, and if all goes well, knock on plywood, I will be drawing at the same time, and that will be fun. It'll be good to get back to the the usual. So, without any further ado, and not tempting the fates any more than I need to, I'm going to bring on my first guest, my main guest, my only guest tonight, Ron Ron Meischker. You know what? I worried so much about typing it, I just about swallowed it when I had to say it out loud. Hey, Ron, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well, Stan. Thanks for having me on.
Always glad to have you here. You are, for those people who don't know, the main person behind the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo, uh, most commonly known as Page, and a little group called Orange Cat Gaming, Orange Cats,
Orange Cat Games.
Orange Cat
Myself and
Games.
Chet Minton. That's right.
And you've got a very interesting project we're going to be talking about tonight that's currently in crowdfunding. Hey, Michael and chat, thank you for joining us. Yeah, so how you doing? It's been a while. I had you on right about the beginning of the year, just before Page. I had a great time at the show. I know I've talked about it on here several times, but want to let everyone know how are you feeling about 6 months after the fact with how Page went and how things are leading up for next year.
I'm feeling good. We're ahead of schedule on our registration year over year. Uh, I think our special guest lineup is looking great. We've got a lot of good stuff going on in terms of Conan. We have a great deal of guests from the Robert E. Howard / Conan universe
Mm.
that are going to be with us at Page. In fact, there's almost like a little miniature convention within the convention we're calling Conanza. And you're actually going to get a taste of one of those on Friday night when you're on Friday Night Live, the Page program. We're going to have historian Jeffrey Shanks
Oh, that'll be
on,
fun.
on with us. And, Jeff is a Robert E. Howard historian. So,
I was watching a couple of weeks ago and you had Jim Zub on, and
yeah.
that was I he and I met very briefly uh, when I was uh, contracting at Wizards a number of years ago. I'm sure he doesn't remember because there are a bazillion people running around, and he and I only interacted for about 15 minutes.
Hmm.
I've always been super impressed with Jim and everything he does. So
Yeah, Jim's a bright guy,
yeah.
and obviously a hard worker, and uh, the man in charge of the direction of Conan when it comes to the comic book world.
Um, for those who don't know, Page is in January. Give us kind of a rundown on Page as.
Sure. The Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo takes place annually on Martin Luther King Jr. weekend, the Thursday through Sunday in January. This will be our fourth year. Last year, we topped 3,000 attendees, and we're expecting that number to grow this year. We have a lot of great guests, such as yourself, Ed Stark, Frank Menser, Zeb Cook, Kevin Sambieta, just Harold Johnson. The list goes on and on. And we also have, some great exhibitors and vendors that are going to be out with us, including publishers like Palladium Books, Trollord Games, Limithron, and Monty Cook Games. Mm-hmm. So we're pretty blessed to have great support from the gaming community at large from around the country who come to the show.
Yeah, I was really impressed by the whole show, but the size of it is, it's a big area and it was filled with stuff going on.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to going back again in January, which I don't usually say about traveling to the East Coast.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun, and I think a lot of folks in the gaming stratosphere, a lot of professionals in the gaming stratosphere, sees an opportunity to get together during the winter months.
Yeah.
Because so many of them come out. I mean, Eric Mona comes out, and Stephen Cheneau, and you name it,
yeah,
they're there.
No,
yeah.
It really was a who's who. And it reminds me of other big cons that have that kind of pull within the industry. You never know who you're going to bump into and who you're going to be sitting at a table with.
Right. And there's really nowhere for the guests to hide at Page. They're there interacting with you. There's no green room for folks to go disappear to, and they're there interacting with the gamers and playing with the gamers, running games for them. And you never know who's going to show up at the table you're at. At Page One, and one of the great thrills for me is I had to sit in and run a game that another special guest, I don't know, he messed up his schedule. He forgot. He didn't show up to run his game, but I knew the adventure. So I sat in to run the game, and I was getting everybody prepped and getting their characters up and running as quickly as possible, because I didn't have pre-gens for the game. Only the guests did.
Right.
But got everybody onboarded in less than 10 minutes, and next thing you know, here comes Jeff D. He comes over to the table and goes, "Hey, can I play?" Sure, Jeff D. wants to sit at my table? Absolutely, anytime. It's a big thrill of my life, as a matter of fact.
So I know from our last conversation that you've been involved in gaming and particularly running game events for a very long time. But when you started pulling Page together and decided that you were going to make it this inviting to the folks in the industry, who are some of the people you kind of reached out, you had on your list early that you're like, this is one of my dream guys who now are there?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I didn't really think about running a game convention again. I ran game conventions in the 1990s when I was, a young whippersnapper, and really gotten away from it for a quarter of a century, basically. And during COVID, when everybody was kind of stuck in the house and they were, getting together online, that's where a lot of the interaction was happening at the time. Some of the, my fellow collectors of RPG materials and we were hanging out in the RPG collectors discussion and barter group, which I'm the admin of. And they came up with the idea that we should run a convention. We should run a convention. And I said, well, let me hear what that looks like to you. And after hearing, this half a dozen people talk about their ideas, it became very clear to me from what they were describing. So you want me to run a convention and you want to come to the convention. Is that what you're telling me? You want me to organize it. So we put some we put some guidelines out there. I said, I just want to run something. Like, I don't need the money. I don't need, to drag people in to do things that I'm not interested in, just
Right.
a couple of extra bucks. So as long as it was, mirroring my interests and it had a do good element to it, I said, okay, I'll put something together. And then it came up with, well, who are we going to bring in as guests? And it was interesting. I looked back at some of the folks who'd been guests at my conventions long, long ago, and the first person that came to mind for me was Frank Menser.
Mm.
And of course, Frank was going through a little bit of a,
Health issue. Yeah.
health issue scandal, if you want to
Yeah.
call it that. And I said, you know what? I don't care about any of that. Frank was a good guest in the 90s. He's from the Philadelphia area. I did my due diligence and looked into things. And I put it out there to those that were really interested in seeing this convention happen. And, I said, well, what do we think about Frank Menser? And it was overwhelmingly that people wanted to see Frank there. So Frank was number one on the list, and he accepted, and he came out, and what a great ambassador for the convention he's been since, from day one. Some others that I was really interested in having out were what I call the West End crew,
Mm.
the Bill Slavicheks and the Ed Starks and even the Rich Bakers to that point. I was interested in those folks. They're local, and that was interesting to me. I've already mentioned Jeff D.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff D is somebody I thought I really, let's get Jeff D to come. And you know what, Jeff D, Jeff D, along with a lot of other guests, took a big chance coming to a first year convention.
Right.
2 weeks after Christmas. I mean, it was early in the month of January at that point. And they took a chance and said, yeah, I'll come out. And that was a big deal to me. That meant a lot to me that folks had that kind of faith to travel across the country to not only want to be guests at a convention, but also, get financially involved by being a vendor per se. Like, one of the publishers I didn't mention, but who was a big part of Page One, were Bill and Ben Barsh from Pacesetter Games,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I talked to them and I said, I'd really like you to come out. I know it's a big ask. You're coming from Michigan, but I'd like you to come out. And they had the faith to make that drive across the country to come to a first year show. And I think I delivered on our end of the promise by putting on a good show that was well organized, well marketed, and we ended up with more than 1,000 people that first year, and it's just been growing ever since. But yeah, there's just so many great guests. Matt Ballant, who is somebody a lot of people don't know. You say Matt Ballant, and people in the gaming industry go, hey, who's Matt Ballant? I don't know, but Matt Ballant. We all have those Palladium books of weapons and armor and medieval castles, and they're two color covers, either green and white or blue and white.
Right.
Matt Ballant wrote all of those, and just a great guy to talk to, and just a font of knowledge from the old Detroit Metro Gamer group that's still alive and kicking today. That group.
All right. Before we continue, it's time to put it to the test. I'm going to pull over here and change it up. And if all goes well, I can be drawing while we chat.
Awesome.
This is a Brahm painting from the original Dark Sun box set. It's one of the books inside the player's aid card booklet. it's a spiral bound booklet, but also one of those images that you look at and you go, "That's Dark Sun." Um, yeah, I mean, one of the things about Paige, I felt that when I first started talking to you, and I definitely thought it going there, is that this doesn't feel like a third year convention in any sense. Just how well organized uh, it is, and all the people that are there. It really is a great show.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. We have a lot of fun there, and you were a big part of it at Page 3, and people are going to get a great look this Friday at how Stan was a big part of it. We're going to be revealing some of the sketches you did on the fly at Page 3 during the Ed Stark's Page 3 mini campaign.
Yeah, Ed had a ongoing campaign that ran throughout the show, and I did part of what we called the illustrated dungeon, where I sit at the table while the adventure is being run and do cartoons based on what happens at the table, and it's something that is I've always done for myself, and to people who've gamed with me kind of got used to having a cartoonist at the table, and every once in a while when I'd go to a show or something, uh, I'd run into people didn't have that advantage and would say, "Oh, I wish we could have that at my table." So I'm working on doing that more at shows, and I've had a few people actually commission me to come and do their private games. So we've got what you were saying. We've got a PDF of all the cartoons I did at Page that we're going to be releasing on Friday on your show.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm excited to see it.
So one of the other things that you've got going on right now is we talked earlier about Orange Cat Games.
Sure.
You've got a project that you're crowdfunding.
Yeah, that's right. We've got something called the Adventure Log. It is a player centered accessory for folks playing any fantasy role playing game. It's not system specific. It's system neutral, and it allows players to keep a handle on all their notes from the game they're playing in while they're sitting at the table. And it contains some, it contains very handy and easy to follow tables where you write in different kinds of notes, whether that be foes defeated, individuals met, locations visited, treasure obtained, magical items, maps, whatever you have. It's there in front of you in a spread format, and it's something that I force my players to use, that I had been working on putting this thing together for a couple of years, because the players were constantly losing notes.
Right.
What was the name of the person? What was the name of the old sage in that town? What was that town's name? And what was that shield? What was the magic on that shield we found? And I'm like, enough's enough. Like, get organized. Stop putting things on Post-its. Stop putting things in notebooks, writing in margins and things like that. Let's get everybody nice and organized. And my players loved it so much that we continued to work on it, and ended up putting it into an accessory, and it's received some great reviews from those who've seen it so far. And fortunately, we have it 100% printed, and that Kickstarter's in its final week now. And as soon as the Kickstarter is complete and funded, and everybody fills out their surveys, out the accessories are going to go.
Out the door it goes. Hey, you
Yep.
know, as it turns out, I have the little video you put up for your Kickstarter here, so we can have a.
Do
have a
Do
look
you
at
know
that.
anybody who did any art for that project, Sam?
Well, you know, your business partner, Chet Minton, did a really lovely cover, but I hear there's some spot illos that this cartoonist guy Stan did.
Yes. You know, every spread, there are 20 spreads, so it's meant to be a left and right page usage. You like basically got the book open in front of you, and you're taking your notes, and every spread has different black and white art on it, and the majority of it is your art, Stan.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. All right, so here is the video. Let's see if I can get this to go. Every time I play that, I find myself bopping up and down.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. We have a young lady that works with us, who does like little animated videos for us like that, and she always manages to pick just the right free music to use for these videos. You know, we have a couple that we use that has one of our super fans who's actually in the chat right now, Mr. Blawface there, who is Neil Devlin. You know, she's got some great videos with Neil where Neil's movements are synced up with the music, and they really make for a fun time.
So I'm looking at the adventures log. It strikes me that it's like it's one part really good character sheet, but then also the way you've got it laid out with all the spots to track things. That
right.
I'm definitely one of those players that is what was that guy's name? And I know I have had several GMs over the years who I have driven crazy with that. So hopefully this will save me from making their lives miserable in the future.
Well, you definitely have a contributor copy coming your way, so you'll be able to use that. But you know, one of the other things that we did with the accessory is that we did choose high grade paper for it. We didn't want it to be, you know, like old Judges Guild, you know, weekly newspaper print sort of stuff. We wanted it so players would keep these and you know, put them on their shelf, and you know, perhaps, you know, we'll do reprints where the covers are different colors and things like that, and you know, hopefully players will keep these logs for years to come to go along with each of their individual characters.
That would be really great, because I know that I have notebooks and mostly I've got manila folders, because all the notes I have from the various campaigns I've been in are on separate scraps of paper. And so I wind up with manila folders for each campaign that I've been in. And then, you know, anything could happen. Certainly something's gone missing, or it would be great to have a nice kind of permanent record for it.
Yeah, and I think it's robust enough within the book that it's not, you know, you have 20 sessions and you got to go to a new notebook. It's really, each spread is really campaign driven, and you know, I think you're going to get several game sessions out of each 2-page area. before you have to move on to another one, which is great. And it's got a lot of cool little features, and my players really like it, and those we've shared it with, and they've gotten to take a look at it. It's something that they think's great. And for me as a game master, I've always depended on the old TSR Dungeon Master's log.
Right.
And I still use it. It's still just as relevant to me today as it was, when it came out in the early 80s. But I use it to keep track of who all my players are. If you do anything as a DM where you're doing something on the fly, it's a good spot where you can write down, hey, what was that NPC that you introduced that wasn't a planned NPC? What was his name?
Right.
Any details? So you have that record, and you can go back, game over game, and look at that as the game master. Well, this is good because the players now have something where they're going to take all their notes and do some things like that.
So what? Although I did the videos, what's if people want to pledge for that? What's the basic pledge?
It's $35, and that gets you the main book, and it also gets you options to grab some additional things, for small additional fees like Orange Cat Game decals. You can grab a printing of Orange Cat Game's first release, which is Tomb of the Ancient War King, which is a nice old school dungeon module. You can grab that in case you missed it on Kickstarter when it came through. Or you can grab a PDF of it as well.
Who did the layout for that? Is this something that you built on your own or with other people? And like you say, you've been playtesting it a while. So
the interior layout, I did that. The final print layout, which is essentially my interior layout. We use Tracy Steele, who's a layout person from the industry, who's, I think a lot of industry insiders know Tracy. She's part of the Orange Cat team, but very little, if anything, changed from the layout that I put together for the log from page to page. She prettied it up a little bit with some, perhaps a more interesting font and things like that.
And that's going on now. And you say it's coming. The Kickstarter is going to end in the next week sometime.
Yeah, I think we're in the final 7 days. Let me just confirm. Might be final 6 days now that it's later in the day. But I'm gonna take a quick look here. Oh, let's see. It's in the final 7 days. So,
all right. So don't sleep on that. Although
no, don't sleep on it. But since we printed up more than we expected, the Kickstarter would more copies than we expected people would pledge for. It will be available via standard purchase down the road.
Do you know where you're going to do that? I mean, you're not usually a retailer per se.
No, but we're going to have to. When I say we, Chet Minton and I, we're going to have a retail outlet for things we're doing, because Tomb of the Ancient War King, people like it. I mean, they want copies of it still. So people want to be able to pick up copies of that. They want to pick up copies of the adventure log. I probably let people know, kind of foreshadowed that we're going to be coming out with some kind of GM accessory tool as well at some point soon. We're going to have a Shadow Dark specific adventure. We have 2 follow-up adventures that are system neutral adventures that are going to be coming out in the next year. And don't tell anybody, but we may be working on a big project, which is going to be a standalone RPG, which I'm not going to say anything else for, but I can tell you this: it is not another fantasy RPG. I can tell you that.
Something a little different. All right. Well, that's exciting. I
It's
didn't
going to
know
be.
about that.
It's good. Well, no, you didn't, but you're going to, because I know there's going to be some art involved in it that for the interior that we're going to talk to you about. But yeah, it's something that we put together a 4-person team with Chet and I being two parts of it, and the other 2 mystery guests or mystery participants will be revealed at some time in the near future. But we've had several brainstorming meetings, and we've returned with everybody's finishing their assigned tasks, and it's going well so far. So we hope late 2027, early 2028. Because we know what happens in January of 2028.
Right.
We're hoping to have that up and running and out there in the wild at that point.
Huh. And so when do you think you're going to be spilling more beans about it publicly?
Probably at Page, I would think. We're going to be looking for some playtesters there, and hopefully we'll be far enough along that we'll be able to go right into playtesting. And as the year goes on next year, of course, we run a second convention called Concoction, which is a much smaller, less national, more regional convention in southern New Jersey. We'll probably do some outreach with it then, and then we'll see what the rest of the year brings, and see if we're ready to go in the winter time, and let people get behind a Kickstarter for that.
Hmm. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing that. I mean, start talking about something that's a little different, right? Not the usual.
It's going to be different in the sense that I don't want to give too much away.
Right. No.
It's definitely a different concept, not only in genre, but in the way characters develop. I'll just leave it at that for now.
All right. I'm willing to leave it at that. Just trying to figure out what I'm doing here.
You're
Again,
drawing.
yeah. So often the thing about doing these homages is I'm taking what was a rectangular thing and trying to fit it into a square. So when to move bits around. These 2 moons, they're such an important part, but in that first drawing, they're actually pretty small. I think in my drawing, they have to be a little bigger. Where like that?
Well, that's what'll make it your drawing.
Yeah. Well, you know what? One of the things I'm happy about with the stuff I've done for this show is that although I mean my point is to pay homage to the people that whose work has inspired me over the years, but that the drawings do come out with a very Stan feeling to them.
You have a question in the chat for you here, Stan. Chris Andrew 1 asks, "Hi all, I love the darker, more bleak tones of older modules. Do you find your preferred tone differs with modern audiences, or does it align well?"
yes. I find that it does differ. Like some, but uh, I a lot of the modern covers, a lot of the modern game art is very has gone through the marketing that enough high end marketing people have come in that what goes on a cover very often it is not lacks some of the magic to for for want of a better word of the earlier products. And one of the things I've pushed on this show is to always pick uh, uh, images that uh, feel like they came out of a game, right? The old module covers and a lot of the old product line box covers, it felt like it was a scene from a game. There were adventurers doing things, or a creature threatening someone, not just what I usually just dismissively call it posy. Right? It's a great painting. It's a really great painting of a monster or a character posing, but um, I really prefer the ones that have feel more action oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so there's less of that these days. And to that end, I would say that my tastes differ. But the quality of the artists, uh, TSR artists were always great. But the rest of the industry has struggled over time. But as we've gotten closer to the modern age, more and more companies, small, middle-sized, even sometimes individual running self-publishing, have been able to get really great art. The across the spectrum of gaming, you can't just look at the cover and immediately know the budget or how many
Right.
people were working on it. So to
Right.
that end, I really like the modern stuff.
Yeah. I feel at Orange Cat, uh, intentionally, I guess, when I decided I wanted to start actually publishing adventures, it made perfect sense for me to enter into a partnership with Chet Minton, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Chet's somebody whose art is well received across the industry, and Chet and I are good friends, and it really helped make our first product excellent. And just when we get through what we did with the Kickstarter, where we did an old school illustration book, for example,
Mm-hmm.
where every encounter area has its own illustrations, similar to what would take place in some of the old competition modules, or some of the S series, where you have a picture of what that demonic face is, and should you
Right.
stick your hand in it, for example. um Chet brought that to life, and in that adventure, and it really was almost like moving to me to see what I wrote, brought visually into being by a talented artist. So that uh, goes without saying. And when you say you don't know the budget, I mean, every once in a while I throw a can of half-opened cat food over to Chet to make sure he still has something to eat.
Yeah. Well, it's as the an artist, it's that's one of the challenges for the creatives out there is finding. And I mean, I come at it from both sides. I understand what the business proposition is of publishing games, but I also understand how much time goes into making a piece and how the artist has to eat. And a it's still a struggle, and it's only
Yeah.
getting worse. I have no intention of bringing this up, but of AI, where it becomes so easy to do something
Mhm.
that appears and has a veneer of seeming quality uh, cheaply.
Well, there's something to be said for uh, not using AI for
Oh yeah, no,
anything, right?
absolutely.
I mean, if there's anybody watching the program who's familiar with me, you'll know that I'm a union representative for the carpenters union, and you know, the use of AI takes away jobs in the construction industry. Well, imagine what it's doing for artists and illustrators and cartoonists and writers. I mean,
Mm,
just look on YouTube if you want to listen to an audiobook related to Conan the Barbarian. You've got hundreds of choices. Many of them are just generated AI stories, unfortunately. But I do want to address something in the chat. So Chris Andrew one, he says early TSR depicted characters that were unlikely to survive a scene. The Elmore fighter taking on the Red Dragon on the old red box, and the doors open to the demon hordes, etc. Not today. I disagree. Like, here's a
yeah,
scene where these characters are not likely to survive water pouring into a hallway that they're trapped into with creepy severed hands falling out of the water and attacking the party. But this was the cover for Tomb of the Ancient War King there,
right.
and of course the back cover. This guy's popping out of the wall, and it's not a good situation for our three heroes there. That Moor mummy is
Yeah.
uh, you know, coming out and reaching for our friend Abner Torchbearer there.
Abner Torchbearer.
Abner Torchbearer. Abner's interesting because he comes from a clan of halflings that for generations have been hirelings to adventuring parties. Hence why the last name Torchbearer. But Abner is bound and determined to break the cycle and become a great adventurer in his own right. Yeah. So he's got his every one of the pre-generated characters that the adventure comes with, and there are two setups with it. One is if you're running this for your home game, do this. If you're running it as a one shot or a tournament, do this. Well, each one of the pre-generated characters has 5 key personality traits that are outlined, and a motivation that is described in their background to give players in a 60-second look over, hey, how am I supposed to be playing this character?
Yeah.
And they get it. And it's a lot of fun.
That's I love that because it's a callback to the early uh, RPGA modules,
Absolutely. Yep.
right? And I know exactly. I mean, certainly when I came to TSR was during the era when classic style tournaments like that were giving way to the living characters, and I get why living was so appealing, but uh, it it took over so completely that so many people gaming today who've come into the hobby haven't experienced the kind of thing that you're talking about there, and it really is such a fun experience.
Right.
When I was working on the Dragonlance Fifth Age team, uh, the RPGA had a program called the Adventurers League,
Sure. Yeah.
where they would do uh, adventures tournaments to be sent out to stores and conventions, and there would be a new couple every week, and so each of the groups was asked to write some material to go out because it was great advertising.
Right.
And so getting to write a few of those adventures with it had to have the characters and kind of create the just enough backstory so you knew something about them, and so that the characters had automatic interactions. You could kind of set up. You weren't railroading or puppet mastering them, but kind of setting them
Right.
up for interesting role playing possibilities.
Right. And I was certainly in the middle of that time period when you were going from RPGA tournament style modules where, at the end of the adventure, you were reading about your character to the rest of the group so they could
Right.
vote to see who should you know, be awarded the points for the tournament and things like that. And the evolution of RPGA Living City, which was, the Forgotten Realms living campaign that TSR and the RPGA were pushing forward to conventions, and you know, two different animals,
Mm-hmm.
but I have to say, from the point of a convention runner, the attraction for gamers to come to a convention that had some first run Living City adventures where they could bring their ongoing character.
Right.
Maybe they don't not everybody has that solid home game where they have a
Right.
home campaign they get to play in. So conventions became their home campaign because they were able to bring their character from convention to convention and grow that character through the living campaigns. There was a different appeal for that
Mm-hmm.
that drove players to travel the country to attend uh, you know conventions with a robust living city track
Mm-hmm.
in them. And I don't know that it was as robust with the old tournament style adventures. It was, believe me, there was interest and people came, and they came from far and wide, especially if you had some first run stuff. But I think the draw was heavier with
Yeah.
Living City. Yeah.
No, I totally get why. Right. It's fun occasionally to play these traditional style tournaments, classic style tournaments, what they call it, classic style now,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
where you're handed the character, but you no matter how good they are, you don't have the attachment to it that you do to your own character, particularly as you were saying when you can develop that character and that character now has a history. Um, it was just in the early '90s or before the mid '90s. It was just neck impossible to organize and make that happen. And the coming of the Living City, it's not surprising to me that that became what everyone wanted most to do.
Yeah, it was a driver. I mean, I once ran a convention in the mid to late 1990s that had
Yeah.
because we had a couple of first runs, we had four events that had recently debuted on the West Coast, so nobody had seen them yet, and it was just a driver for the show. There is a question in chat. What organized play has signed up for? What organized play has signed on so far for Page? So there are a few organized play items on for the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo. One is Living Greyhawk, or Legends of Greyhawk, I should say.
Mm.
Bald Man Games will be back. In fact, those events are going in the system tonight or tomorrow morning. They'll be back running that. That was very successful last year at Page. A ton of people ran through that, and that group did a great job running them and organizing it. And we're happy to have that back. There's also Wardens of the Eastern Marches, which is Alex Kammer and Gamehole Publishing's organized play campaign. We're welcoming that back for the second year. In addition to that, we're having some talks with a group called Frog Helmet Games, who is out of the New England area and has been involved with running organized play events with Bald Man for some time. They're going to be bringing a new organized play campaign to Page, and I'll be honest, this is a very new conversation I had with these folks, but we're going to give them some space and the opportunity to promote themselves. And then finally, Page has an event called Down the Dark Stairway, which is a massive Shadow Dark event that runs in 1 hour or longer time slots that people can just walk up and jump into, generate a character, and go. But the key with that is if your character manages to survive his or her trek down into the Shadow Dark, if you will, you're able to bring that character back for later sessions at the convention as you find time, or at other events where we're running down the Dark Stairway, such as Concoction, such as just make a little announcement here that it's going to run at EcclesiaCon next year, which is Wes Allen's convention. Down the Dark Stairway is going to be there as well. And I would look for it to be at perhaps a half a dozen shows next year. And you're able to bring your character because we scan your character. If he or she survives, we scan the character and we know where the character left off, and you could bring that character back at the next show or the next time you have the ability to get involved in it. So yeah, so that's going to be a little different because it's not really set adventures. It's basically giant dungeon crawl with multiple GMs. And so maybe you'll be able to pull something off. I mean, but then again, those who saw Walhalla last year outside of Down the Dark Stairway, which was a 4x8 tack board on wheels that was literally completely covered with the character sheets of the Fallen, hence why it's called Walhalla. If anybody saw that last year, it's not easy to emerge from the darkness alive in that event.
You've earned something.
Yeah. Hey Stan, can you see the private chat on your end?
I can when I look up to see it.
The
private chat. Yeah. Hold on.
Yes. I put a link in there because I can't put it in the chat. But that's to the Kickstarter for anybody who's interested. I can't post it.
That. And yes, again, it's been so long since I've. So for those who care to get in the weeds, we're doing this straight out of Restream right now. And while I've used Restream to send to multi-stream the shows previously, I was doing it through a production app that was running locally on my computer. So I can't do what I'm about to do there, which is to put a link up. So there we go. It's a link to the Kickstarter that we showed the movie for. And you know what? Let's show it again.
So Stan, if you click on that, where that just popped up in the chat.
Yeah.
If you click on that, it'll appear at the bottom of your screen in Restream. There you go. There's your tutorial for the day.
I'll take all the tips I can get. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Let's watch that movie. I love the orange cat logo.
Do you know what? You know what the orange cat? We've never revealed what the orange cat's name is.
Oh, the orange cat has a name. Of course
Well,
he does.
perhaps he does. Perhaps he does for future marketing purposes. But right now, she's just known as the Necromouser
Oh.
or the Necromeowser or the Necromeowser.
Keep going. Just the best kind. You know what, Chris Andrew in the chat, he loves those kind of puns. I mean, so do I, but I give him grief for loving those kind of puns. He understands.
Stan, I like really corny jokes, right?
I'm aware of this. It's one of the reasons you and I are friends.
Yes. So Stan, I have a question for you and your audience.
Uh-oh. Please, what is it?
How warm are babies when they're born?
How warm are babies when they're born? Oh, I think I know the answer. Do you want me to spoil it, or do you want to?
They're roughly womb
temperature.
Yes, womb temperature.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right, so I'm kind of curious. The Adventurer's Log, which is a really good name. I've in the past, certainly it's not the first product to do this kind of thing, right? There have been plenty of them before, and plenty of pretty good ones. When you look at it, what is it about this version of it that made you say, I gotta bring this out?
It's the simplicity and consistency of it. Some of the other player log products that are out there on the market are system specific, and this is not. This is, the areas for notes where you can write things down and things like that are pretty generic to any fantasy role-playing system. You're not really tracking things like your statistics or anything like that through it. It's for notes. It's for foes defeated, valuables found, magic obtained, notable locales visited, notable individuals met, maps. There's like a little graph paper section on in each spread, but It's consistent page over page over page. Sometimes when I look at products that are out there on the market, especially today, I'll open up something that's specific for 5e, and it's like 14 pages of stuff that maybe a page and a half of it might be applicable to your character.
Right.
And I didn't want to put out a product like that. I wanted to put out a product that it doesn't matter what your character class is, what your race is, what game you're playing, that everything on the page is on the spread is applicable to your character, regardless of game system, class, level, race, etc., etc., etc.
Is it? But does it function as a character sheet?
It does not. No,
No.
it functions in conjunction with your character sheet. Your character sheet is your character sheet. This is a campaign or session by session specific note taking tool.
All right. Um, cool. Uh, sorry, I'm getting lost in this guy's ankle for a second here.
Oh no. That well, you're distracted, and that's your that's your Achilles heel in this case.
It turned out to be.
Oh
Uh-huh.
boy. Yeah, Troy Allman says the other ones are really busy, and it can be hard to find what you're looking for your notes at time. I agree 100%, Troy, and that's why we went very simple here. Like, what's really important for the notes, right? And I've had some people go, oh well, basically you're just making a notebook. No, we're not making a notebook, because the notebook's free form and you're putting stuff all over the place and in the margins and upside down. And oh, there's a post-it. Let me grab that. Whatever it is, this is consistent from page to page to page, where if you're looking for your notes and you're looking, well, who was that person we met when we were traveling through the barren plains? Well, you know where to find that right in this notebook. I mean, it kind of forces the player to be consistent with their note taking, which is important. The more engaged that your players are in what their character is doing, the better. Especially from session to session to session. Back in the old days where we could play once a week consistently,
Right.
Before we had responsibilities and bills to pay, it wasn't that big of a deal, because our memories were still strong. We were young, and you just played a few days ago. Now, where there might be 2, 3, 4 weeks between sessions, the notes are important.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't fall to the game master to constantly be filling in the blanks for the players. You want the players to be involved. You want them to be paying attention. And I wanted to put them in a position to have something to get their thoughts together and get their notes together.
So something that struck me while you were giving that description, I don't think this is anywhere close to a perfect comparison, but what you said was reminding me of the Franklin Covey kind of. It is not just a note-taking book, but it's a system. It's got a thing that you can build habits behind that will strengthen your. I mean, in Franklin Covey's case, right? It's all about your life and
right.
scheduling and such. But if this is this creates that same opportunity for you to use the book to develop habits and styles of doing things that will serve you for years to come.
Yeah, exactly right.
All right. So I think that's looking pretty good for him. Got to go in there and do a little more with the background stuff. Ron, what did you didn't go to Gen Con, did you? I don't
No.
think so. Right. Do you
No,
do you
that's too
get
many.
to a lot of
That's too many people for me.
Yeah,
I'll be
I
honest.
know that feeling.
Yeah.
So but you do go to a lot of local area regional shows.
I think I go to a lot of conventions. Maybe not as many as I used to when I was younger. I mean, I was really a convention traveler, so to speak.
Mm.
When I was in my 20s and early 30s, which was, a millennia ago. But the, I get out there. I go to Gamehole Con every year. I was slated to be a special guest this year at EggCon, and that got derailed by work. I wasn't able to go, but plan is to go to EggCon every year moving forward. I had a great time there last year, and I go to Rising Phoenix Game Con. I go to EcclesiaCon. I was at a little convention this weekend called the 20-Sided Tankard, run by John Harford from Fox and Boar Games. I'm trying to think of where else I get to. I get to quite a few, though. So I get to Justin Royce's shows that he runs. So, yeah, I like going. I run events at a lot of shows. I go to something called Fat Mage, which is the Friday after Thanksgiving. It is a Black Friday game convention. And it's run by a gentleman named Colin Wessel, and it's in Eastern PA. That's a lot of fun. So, yeah, I enjoy going to conventions. I'll be honest, I don't think people would believe this if I told them this, but it's 100% true. I do suffer from anxiety when I'm traveling.
Yeah.
And when I'm around large crowds. So, I know the appearances when people see me at say Page or, somewhere where, I'm very comfortable and I know many of the people. Like I seem like I'm very outgoing and things like that, but I do suffer from a lot of anxiety and with large crowds and things like that. So I do avoid the big ones, Gen Con specifically. I don't go to any of the PAX shows as a result, but Gamehole, that is it's not there's a lot of people there, but it's not a crush of people.
Right.
So that I can withstand, but my days of going to Gen Con ended when it left Milwaukee, essentially.
That's a while ago.
That is a while ago, yeah.
So a lot has changed in convention, just convention culture in the last.
Yes.
I mean, I would say in the last 10 years, but it really goes back. It changed a lot after the millennium, and then changed again, kind of in the last 10 years.
Yes.
What?
This is a great question coming, and I have a good answer. So,
well, just go for it. Don't make me find the right words.
What Stan's talking about is convention. Conventioning has changed in a way that it used to be. It was based on the content of the games, events, and the vendors that you had at your convention, and that as a convention organizer, you had to put out there a compelling schedule if you were going to attract players and people to come to your convention. Now, some conventions, and I'm not saying it's good or bad, it's just different for me. As a convention organizer, I feel it's my job to provide a vast array of things for people to do and a vast array of things that people can pre-register for and know before they plunk down money on a convention badge, hotel rooms, travel expenses, etc., etc. You deserve to know what you're going to be able to do at that convention and have some guarantees that it's going to happen. And there's a number of conventions now where pre-registering for games isn't as big a deal, and for the convention goers, because some conventions have changed that culture. Now it's, oh, we're going to have 500 vendors and we're going to have games, we promise, and we're going to have a free play library, we promise. But when you get to the convention, you're going on an app, seeing if you can get into games, and you're hoping you can get into games that you want when you see them. I'm not comfortable running a convention that way, and I could certainly run it. I could certainly run and promote a convention that did it that way. I could, rent a big venue, fill it with vendors and exhibitors, and let gaming fall where it falls. But I feel like as a convention promoter, it's my job to provide people with a schedule and give them the ability to reserve seats in the events that they want to participate in. So that culture has definitely changed, because not all conventions are like that. They certainly aren't. I think the rise of board gaming, when I say rise, it is exploded. That is a different gaming culture than RPG culture. I mean, there's crossover, but the expectations of board gamers are different when they go to a convention than it is for tabletop RPG people. And I also think COVID changed the way people look at conventions and being in large groups of people. There's no getting around that.
Right.
But for me as a convention organizer, I'm still old school, even though we're using computers and we're using, CRMs like tabletop events to help us manage everything and things like that. I still come from a place where if I was going up to Total Confusion, okay, or now it's just called Total Con, right? In before it was Total Confusion, it was Mass Confusion. It's gone through all these iterations. If I was going to drive up to Massachusetts for that show in February, I made damn sure I was tearing out the back page of the registration book I got in the mail,
right,
filling in the event codes I want, doing my math and figuring out how much I owe them between the badge and the event fees, and stapling my check to that back page, folding it over and putting a stamp on it. Like, that's what got me to a convention. Like, ooh, look, I can play this game there. Or, ooh, look, they have a lot of Living City. Or, ooh, look, that's a great game auction. Whatever it is, like, I needed to know what the features of the convention were and what I could sign up for, and be guaranteed I could get into it and not get locked out for lack of space or lack of seats.
Right.
And as a convention organizer, that's the number one priority to recruit people to come to the show, recruit special guests to come to the show, and make them available to the attendees. I'm sure you have a lot of fans of your work over the years. So when they meet you, they want to be able to talk to you, right, and interact with you and talk about things you've done in the past, and talk about your work and talk about the current things you're working on. They don't want to have to look at you from afar like you're in the Pope Mobile.
Right.
Right.
I'm not William Shatner.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
You've got better hair than William Shatner. So look at that. Look at that.
All right. I'm going to say that this is where I'm going to stop drawing for today. Got the sketch done, the pencil layers done.
Looks great.
Folks who are members of our free, I'm trying to pull up the right area, our free newsletter, 50 Years in the Dungeon.substack.com. Next week, you'll get this delivered to you in the email. As Michael in chat was pointing out earlier, the next phase when I do the inking, there will be a coloring book version of this that you will get if you are a member of the a subscriber to the newsletter. So it's a great free resource that lets you know what's going on the show each week and gets you some extra bonuses. So check out 50yearsinthedungeon.substack.com. Before we go, what I'm doing here. There we go.
Yeah, I had to drop off screen for a moment. I apologize.
That's all right. I'm going to put up the people who are interested in page to go to phillygamingexpo.com. And we had the that'll get you. Now it'll get you information, but as it comes time to yes, the adventures log. Woo!
Some fine Stan artwork in there. Yes.
Yep. So we've got a bunch of little spot illustrations that I did are in there, and where is that thing again? If I copy this and say, if you want to get that, we've still got a week left. You can check out.
You just got to go click on the box in the chat. So just scroll up in the chat, and then where you see it says host, click on the box, and it'll appear on the bottom. This is your tutorial in Restream.
Yeah. I was just going to do it again.
There you go.
I'd gotten myself to a point where I couldn't paste into the message. But not for lack of understanding, just for lack of doing. Yeah, so you've got about a week left to still get in on the Adventures log. It's a fun product. It's useful, as Ron was saying, for whatever you're running, whatever kind of campaign you're running. It'll help make everyone a little more with it, a little more focused, and I think raise the level for everyone. Ron,
yes, sir.
Where can people find you if they're looking to do that?
Looking to do what?
Find you, just
Oh, if they're looking to find me,
yeah. I mean, they want to hand you money or something.
I am easy to find on social media. Just search Ron Meischker and we'll be there, and you'll see me. I'm the only one. You can go to phillygamingexpo.com and you can send an email there. My email's ron@phillygamingexpo.com. You can see me on YouTube every Friday night, 9:30 Eastern time on Friday Night Live, where our guest this week will be cartoonist and illustrator Stan.
Ooh, yes, Friday night. I didn't include that in my appointments for this week, so it's kind of a surprise to everyone. No, I knew it. I just didn't announce to everyone. So
that's bad promotion on your part, Stan.
Gotta get the Stan promotion.
The other guest, Jeffrey Shanks, Robert E. Howard scholar. He promoted he was going to be on the show.
I'll get on it. The next day or two, I'll do it. You can count on me, sir. Count on me, Captain.
Yeah, look. Yeah, Chris Andrews right. Where can we find Ron? He's right there. Look, I'm here.
Hello, Ron.
Yes.
Folks who want to see more about what's going on in the greater Stan universe may want to consider joining my Patreon, patreon.com/StanX. StanX, STANNEX, is where you can find me on most social media. It's only places like YouTube where someone sniped me on it. There you'll have to find me as the real StanX.
Yes. Yes, 50 cents can feed a hungry Stan for 4 days.
There are, of course, lots of interesting levels on the Patreon. But if you are a member of the Stantastic Core, uh, you get stickers periodically sent to you. And these are the two latest stickers that are going to be going out. One is a nice,
Jimothy. I see Jimothy.
and Jimothy.
Yes.
Just came in this week. I love it when new stickers come in.
Mm.
But if you all you want is stickers, turns out I also have stickersbystan.com. You can just go order yourself up some stickers. Now,
Oh, what did I just order from? I ordered stickers by StanX.com.
well, you're
Oh,
going to get some kind of
oh no.
Stan X stickers.
Oh no.
Yeah, not I've got about 40 different sticker designs sitting around here in the Stanplex, and I don't have them all up on the site, but there's a good selection of them uh, that has been rotating. I may make it your all stop one stop sticker shop. We'll see. Right now, though, the Jimothy and the Ogre, the Initiative Ogre, are up there if you want to get those.
Has Chet Minton seen the otter dragons?
I don't know. I mean, my guess would be no, but maybe.
Oh, well, he's a big otter fan. And I know these would be of interest to him. I am forwarding them to him right now.
Excellent, excellent. All right, put one more time up here. PhillyGamingExpo.com for checking out Paige, and as Ron said, his email is at that address, so this is a great place to get in touch. Ron, thank you for coming on and being a guest.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
I know that the Kickstarter has already reached its funding levels and is doing good, but I really hope that in this last week we can get a whole bunch of more people to pop on and get an adventurer's log for themselves.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be awesome. My wife wants new farm implements, so that would be a big help. So yeah.
You can tell your players our game is helping to sponsor farm implements.
Yes, and get a little look at what's inside there. So
yeah.
Yes, and check out all the other stuff we have over there as well. The additional Orange Cat game stuff you can get, and I really appreciate you having me on tonight, Stan. And I will see you in a couple of days.
Yep, I will see you on Friday evening. Hold on, I'm going to take you off and do an outro, and then you and I can say good evening.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Ron. All right, there we go. We actually had a show where I got to draw and talk. I feel like I'm a little rusty at that, but I think it went pretty good. Luckily, I had a good guest like Ron who can carry me along when I trip a little. Anyway, thank you all for showing up. Thank you, everyone who was in the chat and left some messages. If you are watching this on replay, in fact, even if you're watching this live, thank you for watching live. I appreciate that. But if you're watching on replay, do me a favor and give us a thumbs up or a like, whatever it is on the platform you're watching, and leave a message. Leaving messages while we're doing it live, that's great. I love it. But the algorithm, it loves it when you leave messages afterwards. So just tell us what you liked about it or what you didn't, what you'd like me to do better. Tell me how I can be better. I want to improve for you people. I want to do a better job. I will be back tomorrow evening with a new episode of Random Encounters, the improv cartooning show. And I will be back on Friday evening over on Ron's channel, on the Philly Gaming Expo channel, and be talking about what's going on there and revealing the drawings that we did at Page, drawings based on what actual gamers did at the actual convention. So you may want to pop in and see that. Till then, thank you, everyone. I appreciate you being here. Take care now. Bye. He said as he tries to figure out, there it is. End the stream. The button's different from where it used to be. Oy.